A frantic 911 call pierces the calm of winter in New York.
You said her face is wide open. It's split open.
The blood was so horrific. It was so much.
As the horrific events unfold, no one can believe the magnitude of this tragedy.
I went over to my mom's residence, and I just seen hundreds of people outside.
I find myself still trying to come to grips with the whole thing, that this has actually happened.
I don't think anybody could have seen it coming.
It's a betrayal that will cut to the bone. But as a nationwide manhunt gets underway, everyone is left wondering if justice would be denied.
The question was why? We've gone through so much, Gab. Why?
Your hands, your mind, your body took you to this place of no return.
Calm is served cold. It really is. And that's just how it is.
January 3rd, 2013. It's 3 days into the new year in the New York City borough of the Bronx.
The Bronx has a reputation of being a rough and tumble place, but the first 2 days of the year were quiet in terms of crime, which is unheard of around there.
But for an unsuspecting resident in the James Monroe housing complex, the borough is about to reclaim its status as a hotbed of unrest.
When the neighbor opened the door, she couldn't believe what she said.
Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my...
She had blood all over her hands, her clothing, her face. The neighbor immediately called 911.
What's the emergency there? My friend, her face is split open. What apartment are you in? I'm in 2D. She's screaming. Her whole face is bleeding.
The victim is identified as 22-year-old Diamond Dunn.
Diamond had been shot, and she was clearly in shock and seriously wounded.
Just stay on the line with me. Don't get excited. She needs you to stay calm. So stay on the line.
But as Diamond slips deeper into shock, she tells her neighbor that she might not be the only victim.
Her mother's still upstairs. What's going on with her mother?
When first responders arrive at the scene, they secure the premises.
I'm the one that called.
And find Diamond on the floor with life-threatening injuries.
She came from the upstairs apartment. Her mother, she was shot as well.
Third floor, shooters on the loose, possibly second victim.
Go downstairs and set up a perimeter for active shooter.
Stay with me, stay with me.
With the threat of a gunman evident, officers enter the next floor with guns drawn.
Police department.
They quickly make their way inside Diamond's apartment.
Police department. Clear. Clear.
They clear Diamond's apartment and there's no sign of an assailant.
I got a victim.
But inside, lying motionless, is Diamond's mother, 59-year-old Elsina Brown. She had been shot in the chest.
Apartment cleared. Second victim confirmed. Send up EMTs.
This is a double tragedy. A mother and daughter attacked and shot in their apartment.
For law enforcement, the burning question is why. But for one family, a long journey of grief and acceptance is just beginning.
We ask God to continue to gird us up. We ask God to let us to be the beacon of light. We ask that James Monroe community with that dark black cloud over it to know that help is on the way. That God will restore that community like never before.
Diamond Dunn was born in the Bronx, New York in 1990. A welcome angel in a family devoted to church and community.
Everybody loved her because she had all of this beautiful hair, and she sang and she danced. And, you know, she just was really the life of the party.
Growing up with her was just great. Always going to her house and just hanging out with her. I always looked up to her.
Diamond's winning personality became an asset in a neighborhood where challenges were never in short supply.
Living in the Bronx is very hard. A lot of people aren't aware who they are. It's just very difficult unless you had some sort of guidance.
For Diamond and her 4 siblings, that anchor was their mother, Elzina Brown.
Elzina was a single mom, but she was determined to give her children everything. They were her world.
Employed as a crossing guard, Elzina maintained a visible profile in the neighborhood she loved.
Like, usually sometimes when people see a crossing guard, they don't really, oh, good morning, bye. But her, she's like, hey, how are you? Okay, make sure you guys stop, look both ways. She was just always loving.
Okay, I'll see you when you get out.
She always opened her kitchen up to the neighborhood and community. We would have so many guests in our home, and that's how she showed love on a daily basis.
But Elzina didn't just tend to the well-being of children on the streets.
Elzina was also a daycare provider.
Diamond would be her employee. She taught her the ropes and how to honor kids and how to dedicate yourself to them and how to be sensitive to kids.
As her beloved daughter Diamond grew into a beautiful young woman, Elzina's all-encompassing embrace would soon bring one more soul into its fold.
My friend T right here. T, what's going on?
Diamond didn't date too much. As a teenager, her real relationship started with Raymond.
And you are?
I'm Diamond.
Diamond. Nice to meet you.
She met Raymond Morat, and she really, really fell for this guy.
Seems like your mama named you just right.
Stupid.
Raymond is a tad bit older than Diamond, and maybe Raymond was more experienced than Diamond at the time.
I haven't seen you around before.
Yeah, I'm from Brooklyn.
Oh, you just moved here?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
I think I'm gonna like this place.
This young lady came into his life, and he let me know that this is the woman that he chose to spend his time with as boyfriend and girlfriend.
As Diamond's relationship with Raymond blossomed over the next few years, it wasn't long before he too became part of her family.
I lost.
I'll let you win if you give me a kiss.
Raymond got a job working as a counselor with mentally disabled people, but he spent most of his free time with Diamond and her family.
Hey, kids. Yeah, babe.
Raymond want to stay for dinner tonight, okay?
Oh, that's fine. You know Raymond always has a place at my dinner table. As a matter of fact, I'm getting ready to start dinner, so to be ready shortly.
Elzina loved my son so much, she allowed him to live there. I mean, cooked food for him. She treated my son as her own child.
It seemed like a storybook romance until Diamond and Raymond received some unexpected news in 2008.
Raymond came to me and he says, Dad, I will be giving you a grandchild.
The news is met with mixed reactions.
When Diamond got pregnant, I was upset. I didn't feel that Diamond was ready for a child.
She's young, she doesn't know what to do. She's living with her mom still. But I'm pretty sure she was happy overall, but it's just, it comes with a, what am I gonna do now? I'm having a baby.
But when baby Madison was born, she brought only joy to her teenaged parents.
Raymond was there for the birth. Once Madison arrived, he fell in love.
The baby came on the scene, and Raymond was gung-ho about it, and he was ready to settle down with this woman with a child. So it was very good.
After high school, Diamond and Raymond felt it was the right time to strike out on their own.
Raymond decided that he wanted to raise his family in a different environment than New York. So they decided to go down to Virginia.
Diamond feels that she can do better in another place, then she'll take that move. I believe she did what was the best thing to start her family, to be more independent.
It was a rocky entrance into the world of grown-up responsibilities. But Diamond had the blessings of her mother Elzina and her extended family.
We thought it would work because Diamond and Raymond moved to Virginia.
But what no one yet knew is that a storm was gathering on the horizon, the full terrible effects of which would be felt on a cold January day in 2013.
This was the start of a new year. It was supposed to be a joyous time, and then this tragedy happened. a mother and daughter shot.
The whole neighborhood is outside, and everybody was just in disbelief.
On the afternoon of January 3rd, 2013, after responding to a frantic 911 call from a housing development in the Bronx, NYPD and emergency personnel encounter a scene of unspeakable carnage.
Diamond Dunn and her 59-year-old mother, Elzina Brown, had both been shot in Elzina's apartment by an unknown assailant.
Diamond mustered up the strength and the courage to make her way downstairs to the second floor of her friend's apartment. The neighbor called 911.
Diamond had been shot multiple times, including in the head and the face. Essentially, her nose had been shot off.
Early 20s, gunshot victim, been shot in the face.
For those at the scene tending to Diamond's injuries, it seems a miracle she's even alive.
Is she responsive?
Unresponsive.
Let's get her out to the truck and we'll work on her in there.
Through my career, I've never seen anybody get shot in the head twice, get up, walk down the stairs to a friend's house. I've never seen it done.
Now it's a race against the clock to save Diamond's life.
Let's get her out of here.
Diamond was taken to Jacoba Hospital where they took her straight into surgery.
As word spreads of the attack, concerned family members and neighbors clamor outside the apartment, hoping for an update on Diamond's mother, 59-year-old Elzina Brown.
I said, what's going on? Is my mother okay?
My mother is in there. I need to know my mother's okay.
Inside Elzina's apartment, though, the situation is dire.
Elzina Brown had been shot in the chest and was pronounced dead at the scene.
I just fall to the ground. I just start screaming, crying.
While friends and family grieve, New York City police set about processing the scene of this tragic double shooting.
We have is an active shooter situation. We found 2 victims, one on the 2nd floor, knocked on the neighbor's door, just covered in blood. The neighbor sent her, said that she had a family member up on the 3rd floor, found a 2nd victim up on the 3rd floor. The EMS crews have already taken them out.
The first thing, obviously, you want to establish is if there are any witnesses, if anybody seen anything or even heard anything.
Unfortunately, the only witness to the crime was Diamond, who had been rushed off to the hospital with life-threatening injuries.
As for a possible motive, detectives know that in an urban environment like the South Bronx, conditions are often ripe for any manner of violent activity.
Based on my neighborhood, my community is very violent, yes indeed, in the Bronx. And anything can happen any moment.
Usually with police work, you find a female victim inside a home that's hurt. Right out the gates, it's thought to be domestic. But in this particular case, being that there were 2 victims inside the apartment, that there's a strong possibility that it could have been a robbery.
But as investigators scour the scene, there's just one problem with that theory.
There were no signs of forced entry, burglary, things would be disarray. No, there was nothing like that.
With everything apparently normal in the house, police had to consider the possibility of a targeted killing.
You think of all possibilities, what could happen. If any one of them had a recent confrontation, they have an enemy, somebody who was upset with them.
Doesn't look like a burglary to me. Looks like a target killing. What do you think?
Well, do you want to go downstairs and talk to the family?
Interviews with family indicate the possibility that the beloved but strong-headed Elzina Brown may have had some unlikely enemies in the area surrounding the Monroe housing complex.
There were folks who actually made it very clear that they didn't want to tolerate or even be part of her praying, her joy, her peacemaking, Elzina being able to even go up to drug dealers and say, hey, we have to stop this.
If a pillar of the community like Elzina starts taking action against the drug trade, she's bound to run into trouble.
Due to Elzina's job, there's also the possibility that her visibility in the neighborhood put her in increased danger.
On the corner multiple times, Elzina would request a unit to be present because a few vehicles try to knock her down. So yes, I can honestly say everybody in the community didn't love my sister.
As detectives wade through a long list of potential suspects, they uncover information that suggests Elzina Brown may not have been the target after all.
Diamond was not leading the picture-perfect life that everyone had thought.
It's been 2 hours since 22-year-old Diamond Dunn was admitted to Jacoby Medical Center following the shooting attack that injured her and claimed the life of her mother, Elzina Brown. As surgeons perform life-saving surgery on Diamond, authorities are forced to conduct an investigation without their sole eyewitness.
Diamond was in the hospital and unable to talk at that time, being inaccessible. You know, it was a difficult beginning.
Detectives consider the possibility that Elzina's position as a crossing guard, combined with her outspoken nature, may have led her to ruffle the wrong feathers.
Can you tell us if she had any enemies in the area, or at least somebody that was threatening?
Elzina could be tough. I can't think of anyone that would want to do this to her.
She's well respected. Well respected.
Detectives shift the focus of their interviews to Diamond, and what her friends and family tell them is intriguing.
She moved here from Virginia to live with my mom a couple years ago.
What happened?
Relationship issues.
You have a name?
Raymond. Raymond Mayring.
We thought they had a good life, and somewhere in between that time, everything spiraled down.
Tell us about Raymond.
After a while, Raymond became disrespectful to my sister Diamond.
Raymond was fooling around, and continuously, my loving niece Diamond overlooked it, tried to start all over again, tried to forget the infidelity over and over again.
I gotta go, all right? I'll call you later.
Who was that?
Who's who?
On the phone just now, you were talking to a girl.
That was just my cousin.
You expect me to buy that?
Friends and family say as time went on, the pressure of Raymond's infidelity took its toll on Diamond.
Why are you doing this to me? I thought you said you loved me.
You just need to chill, baby.
I'm tired of you lying to me.
Eventually, Diamond confided in friends and family about her problems.
She just needed to get away from the situation because they were fighting.
By April of 2010, Diamond's sister Laura said she feared the situation had grown out of control, so she and her mother went down to Virginia.
That everything?
This is the last of it.
Here, Laura. Oh, take that. Bag. I think you're doing the right thing, baby.
Well, look, Madison's already in the car seat, so let's go.
She picked her up that night. I said, that's it. We're out of here.
According to Diamond's loved ones, the decision to split was supported by both families.
This was the first incident that I heard about that made me say to him, you know what? It's best that you separate yourself from her.
She moved back to the Bronx, to my mom's place, her and Madison. They always had their room.
But apparently, Raymond wasn't going to let his family slip away so easily.
Maybe a few days later, who shows up to New York? Raymond.
He went to find his child. He wanted to be close to his child.
They were trying to work it out, but everyone wondered if there was something else going on beyond Raymond's infidelity. Diamond just didn't want to talk about it.
So ultimately, they both kind of go their separate ways, but they still have this child together.
While the story of these two forlorn lovers is captivating, infidelity is a far cry from murder. Still, police can't help but wonder if somewhere within this tumultuous love story lies a clue to what put Diamond's mother in the grave and left Diamond fighting for her life.
Raymond is still unaccounted for, and investigators want to talk to him. Police can't find him, so where is he?
According to a 2013 study, common reasons for infidelity include ongoing unresolved issues in the relationship, a significant difference in sex drives, and the realization of substantial differences in personalities. While Diamond Dunn lies incapacitated in a Bronx hospital bed, detectives discover that 2 years prior, Diamond split from Raymond Myrant, her former boyfriend and child's father, when his infidelities became too much to bear.
According to family and friends, Diamond came back to New York to get her life together.
But as interviews with friends and family continue, detectives learn that despite Diamond and Raymond's differences, the effects of time and distance weren't enough to extinguish the smoldering fire between these former lovers.
Hey.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, just checking on you.
Raymond was Diamond's first love and the father of her child, so she tried to keep in periodic touch with him from New York.
How's New York treating
It's all right.
you? How's my baby girl?
She's good. She misses you.
Miss her too.
You know you can come visit her anytime, right?
Yeah, I know. Just trying to get some things together.
Oh, okay. We're always here for you if you need us.
Diamond is one of the young generation people who feels that I'm a good person. I'm a good mom. I'm there if you need me to talk to you, Raymond. I'm there to try to carry us both.
Friends and family say that the communication between the two only seemed to strengthen when Raymond moved to Queens with a new girlfriend.
So you seeing anybody?
Nah, nothing serious.
I don't believe that for a second.
You're the one who still has the girlfriend, right?
Well, at least I'm not a tease like you.
The couple's alleged romantic overtures toward one another raises a few chilling possibilities. With Raymond now also living in New York, could he have turned on his former girlfriend? Or could jealousy have pushed Raymond's new girlfriend to harm Diamond?
Detectives knew the only way they were going to get somewhere was to find Raymond.
Unfortunately, their efforts to locate Raymond come up empty from the beginning, but they are able to locate his girlfriend, Tiffany Cooper.
6 hours after the shooting, detectives sit down with Tiffany Cooper in hopes that she can shed some light on Raymond's whereabouts.
Do you know where your boyfriend is, Miss Cooper? I haven't seen him in days. He said he was visiting family for the holidays.
If what Tiffany says is true, could Raymond have gone to visit Diamond and his daughter? If so, where is Raymond now?
Raymond leaves to visit family a few days before Diamond, his child's mother, is shot. Detectives can't help but note the suspicious timing of his departure.
So you know about Diamond?
Yeah.
To cover their bases, detectives press Tiffany on her feelings about Raymond's relationship with Diamond.
Well, she is Madison's mother, so it never bothered me they stayed in touch.
And you never felt threatened by their relationship?
No, never.
You wouldn't mind telling us where you were this afternoon, would you?
I was at work all day.
They check with Tiffany's supervisor, and he can account for her whereabouts all day. So it seems like Tiffany is telling the truth, which puts Raymond at the top of the suspect list.
Police get a small break when a routine background check on Raymond Myrant reveals a checkered history with law enforcement.
Raymond had some criminal history, car theft, drugs, things of that sense. He did have a few run-ins with the law.
But petty crimes are a far cry from murder.
Detective Jones.
Before detectives have more time to focus on Diamond's troubled ex, they get some crucial news.
Okay, thank you. Diamond's at the hospital. They said she woke up.
Detectives race to the hospital, hoping their #1 witness can confirm the shooter's identity.
She was shot 3 times, grazed by the grace of God, in her hand, her shoulder, her face, and just took off her cartilage here, her nostril.
The bullet grazed my head. So it didn't go through. The bullet didn't go through.
Her head was all bandaged. All of this was bandaged. All you saw was Diamond's eyes and her looking around. And I could always remember Diamond saying, "Where's Mommy?"
Where's Mommy? So Laura was like, Mommy passed away. So I lost it. I began to feel like, well, damn, I should have passed away. She got shot once. I got shot 3 times.
With Diamond's unlikely survival, an unmitigated tragedy moves one step closer to justice.
Now, investigators have their witness.
Now, we understand that you have been through a lot. We do need to ask you a few questions. Do you know what happened this afternoon?
When Diamond finally speaks, what she declares is shattering.
I'm sorry, Miss Stella, I can't hear you. Can you speak up?
It was Raymond.
She's fully conscious, and she said Raymond shot us.
Detectives are shocked as Diamond goes on to recount her story. One that began with a relationship that floundered under the strain not just of infidelity, but alleged abuse.
He would choke me until I passed out.
Diamond tells police about her history with Raymond when they lived together in Virginia and how it was an abusive relationship.
In Virginia, it got worse. The abuse actually put me in the hospital.
So why didn't you tell anybody about this?
It was what they considered minor abuse at first. Verbal, more or less. Escalated to physical.
I was more worried about what would happen to him and if he would get in trouble. Eventually, he put me in the hospital. He broke my arm.
Raymond was hitting her. She wasn't ready to let him go.
Nobody knew that he would break my arm or even choke me out till I passed out. Or drag me out of the bed while Madison was sleeping right beside me. Nobody knew.
Diamond tells police about the agonizing conflict of suffering abuse while simultaneously worrying for her abuser's safety.
I really didn't want him to go to jail because of what he's done to me, because I really believed that he would change and he would do better. I really believe that. Raymond would say things like he would get counseling and he would shower me with gifts.
And everything was perfect. He said he wanted a family, and I believed him.
But Diamond says Raymond didn't change. Yet after she broke free from him and moved back to New York, a fire still burned in her heart.
I asked God to please help me get him out of my system. Like, I just can't. I would still call here and there to bother him and just to make sure he was okay.
She just couldn't let him go. He was like a drug she couldn't shake.
But how far would this addiction take her? As Diamond describes the days leading up to January 3rd, investigators are left to puzzle what some people will do in the name of love.
He did all the things that he was supposed to do.
It's the evening of January 3rd, 2013. Surgeons in New York brought shooting victim Diamond Dunn back from the brink of death. Now from her hospital bed, Diamond tells investigators a tale of resilient love turned lethal.
It was around the holidays, and even after everything that had happened, all the abuse, Diamond and her mother thought Raymond deserved another shot.
I remember him calling me saying, you know, hey, what you doing? I'm just like, I'm here wrapping up the gifts, you know. It's almost time for Christmas. And he's like, okay, well, is it okay if I come over? I don't have any gifts. I just want to see my daughter. It's Christmas.
What up, man? Hey!
He came over, he stayed for about 4 or 5 days. And it was just perfect. I was like, okay, well, God, you heard my prayers. This is gonna work again. I'm finally going to be with my daughter's father.
The spirit of the Christmas season moved Diamond and Raymond toward reconciliation.
It's nice to have you back around.
I just want a little privacy.
The passion they experienced over the next several days was like nothing that had come before.
When I say it was perfect, I mean, he did all the things that he was supposed to do. Anywhere I needed to go, he made sure that I was there, taken care of. When I would go to work, he would watch Madison, take her wherever he wanted. I was just so happy that he was taking the role of the dad.
According to Diamond, That day started out just like the days that preceded it.
Hey, there's nobody in.
No.
January the 3rd was a phenomenal day for Diamond. After they took Maddie to school, Elzina was still on the corner as a crossing guard. Diamond and Raymond went home, and they made love that morning.
Just remember me and Raymond having the best sex ever. It felt different. It felt like we were starting over.
But this dreamscape would be short-lived.
Me and Raymond made love, and then we took a nap. In the napping period, my mother must have came in and took her nap in Madison's bedroom.
To Diamond's horror, less than 2 hours later, she awoke to see the man she just made love to standing over her with a gun.
She thought he was waking her up for work. Wasn't really sure what he had. But he clicked it, and she realized as she's still laying there, it was a gun.
Raymond, what are you doing?
You sleeping with me while you messing with other guys?
No, I don't know what you're talking
Now you wanna play it?
He was just like, why are you playing with me? Didn't I tell you to stop playing with me? He kept repeating the same thing. So now I'm getting scared because I'm realizing that he's not playing.
You lying?
Diamond says Raymond became enraged. Then the nightmare really began.
He shot my head, he shot my nose, and he shot my shoulder. I never stopped screaming. I heard my mother say what's going on in there. She was on her way to me.
But Elzina never made it to her daughter.
When I heard the shot in Madison's room, I just knew that my mother was shot. I just remember hearing that pop. And I was just like, oh my God, I have to get out of here.
According to Diamond, after Raymond fled the scene, she staggered outside her apartment and down the stairs to her neighbor's door.
My state of mind was that I was going to die. The blood was so horrific. It was so much. I didn't even know how I made it down the stairs to knock on the neighbor's door.
The police urge calm as they enlist a ready community in the hunt for a killer.
The community began to look for Ray. People began to give us hope that they seen him on the number 2 train, that they seen him going to Queens, that they seen him in Brooklyn. None of it was true. Raymond was long gone.
With Raymond on the run, the Dunn family worries for their own safety.
When I heard that Raymond was on the run, I was actually terrified. We don't know if he's gonna come back and do it again.
We're in close communication with the detective, and at the time, Diamond was under an alias in the hospital because Raymond was on the run.
The hunt is on, but has Raymond Myrant already slipped the grip of law enforcement in his desperate flight from justice?
It was said that he was trying to get to Canada. He was inquiring if you needed a passport to enter into Canada.
Domestic violence is real. And if your gut gives you that feeling, pursue it. Even if everything looks all right. We just want to make sure that Diamond Dunn and Rosina Brown is never forgotten. This was not an accident. This was personal. We are finding the strength to open doors, our heart, forgiveness, and be able to exalt Diamond like never before.
After miraculously surviving 3 gunshot wounds, Diamond Dunn names for authorities the man who shot her and also took her mother's life, her ex-boyfriend, Raymond Myrant. Now it appears Raymond is on the lam.
A lot of law enforcement and individuals looking for him. Everyone still felt or thought that he was in the area. So everyone's radars and alert levels increased tremendously.
But as detectives know, sometimes even the best criminal can leave a trail.
Police began tracking Raymond's financial transactions, and they see he's heading north. In fact, his last purchase was in Maine, and they're worried he's fleeing to Canada.
A report of a stolen car by a Maine resident involving a man fitting Raymond's description indicates detectives are on the right track.
Mr. Mayran does have a history of stealing cars, and he was able to get a ride from someone to get to Maine. And then, incidentally, he was able to steal this person's car.
For the next 8 days, Raymond manages to stay one step ahead of his pursuers. But his resources are drying up.
Mr. Mayran was running out of money, so he got pretty desperate. For a short period, he came back to New York, and then he went on his way to Ohio.
Once he ran out of money, he called his employer. And from that, they were able to pinpoint his location.
Finally, on January 11th, authorities make their move.
Mr. Mayran was apprehended by the U.S. Marshals in Warren, Ohio.
Hey! You're Raymond Mayran.
Raymond? No, that ain't me.
Then who are you?
Richard.
He gave the name of Richard. He gave a false identification. It lets us know that he's aware that we were looking for him, that he was wanted.
Richard, you got some ID?
When confronted by officers, Raymond has no qualms about trying to lie his way out.
Oh, I think I lost it before I came into the shelter.
That's what I thought. Turn around, put your hands behind your back. Raymond, you're under arrest.
So begins Raymond Mayran's long walk toward justice. And after nearly 3 years in custody, on November 10th, 2015, he faces judge and jury in the Bronx County Courthouse. The state's goal is to convince the jury that this serial abuser had lashed out in a fit of rage on January 3rd, 2013.
What happened? Like, what in his mind made him snap? What was this already planned? Was this what he wanted to do in the beginning?
Everything was going well, but something inside of him broke on January 3rd. Either he thought Diamond was going to end their relationship for good, or maybe he saw something on her phone after their bout of lovemaking that enraged him.
And prosecutors say once Raymond let his fears and imagination take hold, he lost control of his emotions.
He was in a wreck of emotions. It was like the Titanic for him, man. He was just going down, and he didn't know what else to do.
That ain't gonna happen. Jealousy is sort of like mold. It just grows. You don't know it, and it just stems. It just grows and grows until it gets pretty fatal.
But the defense counters that Raymond Mayran was no killer. In fact, they assert he wasn't even in the apartment when the crime was committed.
Raymond got on the stand, and he decides to say that he was there on that day, but he had left in the morning.
His testimony was that he had left the apartment before anything had happened.
Diamond's family is stunned by Raymond's brazen assertion.
There's no words for when I heard what Raymond said at trial in his testimony, just shaking my head at how someone could be so heartless and lie over and over again about what he actually did.
But the state fortunately has a survivor who can dispute Raymond's account. From the witness stand, Diamond confronts the man she once loved.
I remember my aunt saying, just let it flow. You're telling what happened. And I just remember him sitting there as if he hadn't done anything, or we haven't been through anything. So that was hurtful for me.
Diamond Dunn took the stand, and the jury was able to see firsthand, what he did to her. It took a great amount of courage for her to do that.
Her testimony was powerful. She detailed the years of abuse and that final terrible day that claimed the life of her mother and nearly hers.
After 3 gripping weeks of testimony, both sides come to a rest. Now Raymond's fate is in the hands of the jury.
And I won't never forget the day that they finally said that they reached a verdict.
Raymond Mayran was convicted of second-degree murder and attempted second-degree murder. He was sentenced to 2 consecutive terms of 25 years to life.
The judge, he said he's never seen such a group of people like us just hold it together. And he said, you guys waited long enough, cry out. And we just cried out, and it was just a relief.
While the verdict brings relief to one family, it brings devastation to another.
To find that you now won't see the light of day, you have to think, you took in someone's life. That's not the child that I raised, that I can even fathom that you did this. And I feel for Diamond and her family.
As for Diamond, the scars are still healing.
The verdict wasn't a reliever for me because I have no mother. I hurt for my siblings, for my family members, and just people who she inspired throughout her years of living. And the fact that Madison doesn't have a dad.
In fact, Diamond still struggles to understand the motivations and actions of the man she loved.
I didn't know that he was gonna do what he did. I didn't know that he felt the way that he did. I didn't know that you could hurt somebody that you love that much, that bad. I didn't know.
Abuse is never okay. If you or someone you love is in an abusive relationship, there is help available. Call the Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-SAFE.